you want to tread carefully when it comes to the infrastructure of the energy sector. In any case, Israel struck the largest gas field in the world, which is a partly Iranian, and damaging Iran's processing capacity of liquid gas. Now, it should be said, though, Israel did not destroy Iran's energy capabilities, but rather it was more of a signaling. It was a focused attack, not a whole like destroying attempt, in order to show the Iranian that there is an ability to collapse their economy and yet keep an opportunity of political maneuvering. And I think that President Trump said intentionally, even that he talked with Netanel, and it's not going to happen again. I think that after it was made clear it can be done, it is reserved for more escalatory level if need be. Hopefully not. Okay, again, degrading the missile capabilities of Iran. At least I've heard rumors that launching crews some of them have defected because they don't want to shoot rockets, because once they shoot it, they are hunted. So that's a point. We've talked about air superiority as well. And sorry. Now, a bit about another element, decapitating the regime's leadership. High-value targets. So you've heard of Ali Larijani. This is a name that we've heard for a long time. Again, not getting into the history of each of these, and Ismail Khatib. These are top people with a lot of experience, and yet younger than the supreme leader that was, again, relatively old. So some would say Larijani's elimination is almost as important, or maybe even more, than that of the supreme leader Ali Khamenei. Basij. At the end of the day, if Israel wants to create the conditions for a regime change, we cannot change the regime. We've talked about it. We're a small nation of 9 million people. We cannot change the regime of a 90 million people country, but creating the conditions is different. And the main element in fighting off any sign of protest on the street is the Basij. Basij is the kind of a militia that is related to the IRGC and protecting the revolution, the Islamic Revolution. So Israel bombed headquarters of the Basij, and in order to avoid being bombed, and since they didn't have any building that they could feel safe enough, what the commander of the Basij militia did is they had a tent which was supposed not to be known to others as their headquarters. So somehow Israel found out about that tent, and the Basij commander, as well as his second in command and many other commanders who were in that command and controlled makeshift tent, were eliminated. So again, same goes for other parts. Another point to be made as far as the Basij, that this is not just dealing with the military ability of the Basij, to act against an uprising. This also shows the morale, the retaliation against the oppression mechanism that is the Basij, and deals with a creation of boosting the morale. For instance, Israel eliminated this week a judge, an investigative judge that was part of the execution of a very famous regime. People who were dissidents, people who went against the regime, and this investigative judge was eliminated by Israel because he was famous for these cases. So that's part of the not just military achievement by doing that, but also moral achievement. Israel also first time attacked the Iranian harbors or military ports at the Caspian Sea, not just in areas that are in the Arab Peninsula, in the Persian Peninsula or Arab Peninsula, but also in the what Iran considered to be its like more protected, farther from the war area, not not the Straits of Hormuz or Bandar Abbas, but rather the other sea of Iran. I'll show you a map so you understand. And again, the advantages that Iran would not feel, or the Islamic Republic would not feel that they are immune somewhere. So they're not immune. This is Iran, and Israel attacked ships of the Iranian of the fleet of the IRGC in the Caspian Sea, not in the Persian Gulf. These are the Straits of Hormuz. So that's as far as that. Moving on to the next element in our first part of the lesson, Lebanese front, Division 36, which I used to be part of when I was a regular in the IDF. It's part of the regular standing army, not part of the Miluim. There are some elements of reserves in every unit in the IDF, but generally speaking, it's a standing army division working in Lebanon alongside Division 91, which is the regional division there. Division 36 is a maneuvering division, like my own Miluim division. So it's working in Lebanon. That's what's going on in the ground. Yeah, I think I don't remember when it started, but the IDF strikes Israel Air Force. Yeah, IAF, IDF. But using the Air Force, attacking Kud al Hassan. That's basically the banks of Hezbollah. And as far as what's going on in Israel, maybe the most, war has like funny moments, understandable but funny. Yesterday, a poll was published in Channel 12, and the poll said they wanted to know how pleased are people with the current situation of the war in Israel. What do you think, guys? Are people happy with the way the war is conducted so far, or are they not happy?
They are happy.
Okay, so you say they are happy. And generally speaking, you'd be right. About 67 to 70% of the people were either content or very content with the way the war is going on. 23% are either not very content or not content, and 7% did not know. So overwhelmingly, the answer is yes. But what was the most important factor to know if you are happy or content with the way the war goes on or not? I'm telling you guys, you're not gonna guess, even though it makes perfect sense. At least I don't know if I would have guessed.
Consequences?
Yeah, Gary, you know what? You were correct. Consequences, but what kind of consequences?
Yeah. I watched Mordecai Kedar speak about that.
Oh, Mordechai Kedar. Maybe you should get him again, even though he's quite busy now. Yeah, Mordechai Kedar. I'll tell you what was the most important factor in Israelis being content with the way the war is conducted or not. You know, we've talked about it in the past, and you know that I'm teaching from the safe room, right? If you have a safe room in your house, you're very much likely to be content with the way the war is conducted. If you have to go to a shelter at the bottom of your building, you're less. And if you don't have either and you have to go to a public shelter, you're least likely to be content with the way the war is conducted. So you were correct when you said consequences, and I relate to them every time, you know, we have the sirens or the warning, because what's going on is that there is a preliminary warning that is very wide. Now, we don't have to do much about it because we have the safe room. So whenever there is a siren, we go to the safe room. But last night, like, when I say last night, I mean 4 hours ago, when it went off like twice, one after the other. I'll just show it to you guys. Let's see if I can. Yeah, I can show it like this. I'll send it. Anyway, so last night when we have to deal with it, okay, I asked myself what's happening with people who don't have that safe room in their houses and they have to go to other places. So, you know, because it's difficult. Some families have to go every night because they know they're going to have sirens with the whole family, sometimes the pets and everything, to a community shelter in the middle of the night. Interestingly, it doesn't necessarily correspond with like money or no money, because you may have a lot of money, so you live in the financial capital of Israel, which is Tel Aviv, and Tel Aviv, because it has a lot of its buildings were not built since the 90s, like the high rises, yes, but the core of Tel Aviv are not the high rises, like. So you might be a millionaire, but you have to go to a community shelter, you know. So it's that was the most important factor in how, if you're content with the way the war goes on or not. This is just to show you exactly 4 hours ago, you know, you can see, I didn't change the language to English, but you can see the numbers. You can see 2241. The last one was 4 hours ago. Exactly midnight 017 was the end of the last where the event finished. So you can see that last night we had like 2241, 2327. These are warnings. Okay, this is an actual siren going off in my town. You can see the name Gedera. Okay, Gedera, that's the home front command application. This is around your town. Okay, you can see it's the same time. And then another like warning about Gedera and another warning about Gedera. And finally, event finished 4 hours ago. And every time we have it, okay, it's not the end of the world. We have to make sure everybody goes to the safe room. And since now they're using those big rockets with a lot of sub-munitions, even if they hit directly, because they are sub-munitions, they're not as big. So if you're in the safe room, you're okay. You know, there was a video of a guy who said, I was alone at home. I didn't know if to go or not. And then I said to myself, if I'm injured, my wife will kill me. So he went to the safe room, and you need to see the whole house is destroyed. The safe room is like completely safe, and nothing happened. So that's a bit about what's going on. And if you have to go to the bomb shelter as like a basement floor of a bomb shelter, you're less content. If you have to go to a community shelter, you're even less content. But all in all, 70%. Yes, Don.
I heard some people complaining that they couldn't figure out when to take a shower. They would get all soaped up, and then the alarm would happen.
First of all, happened to me. Happened to me once. True story. Like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I even took like a selfie with a robe. So happened to me. But you know, they did the statistics. Now they have a record. You know, they did the statistic of when is best to take a shower. I think there is even an app for it or something like that. So that's a bit about what it makes a lot of sense, but it's funny the fact that where you have your how far is your shelter from your bedroom is the main factor in what do you think about how the war is conducted.
Does everybody carry a flashlight?
A flashlight. So we have like we have some emergency stuff in the safe room. So for instance, we have like flashlights, batteries, water, a bit of food in case of a real emergency. But truth be told, what we do, we have like some treats for the kids. So every time there's a silent, they get something. Like, do you see the Mike and Ike that I'm holding? So you know, that can improve a little bit if someone is like anxious or anything. But we have a safe room in the house, so and the whole neighborhood is like that. So everything that was built, as we said, since the 90s is basically that. And we've even explained the irony that Iran is to be credited with the safe rooms. No, guys, we didn't talk about it? No? So let me tell you why I think Iran should get some of the credit for me having a safe room. In the right after the Islamic Republic, the Islamic Revolution, the Iran-Iraq war started. It was a big war. 1 million people died, all in all, both sides. Okay, Iran versus Iraq. And part of that war led to developing the missile abilities of both sides, Iran and Iraq. Because of the development of the missile capabilities of Iraq, they were able to send rockets against us in the early 90s in Operation Desert Storm, Gulf War I, okay? And after that, Israeli law, the Knesset, the legislature in Israel, changed the building code. So you have to build in every house you build a safe room because of the rockets that were fired from Iraq, because of Iraq's war with Iran prior to that. So Iran should be at least partly credited for us making it obligatory to build safe rooms that currently protect us from Iranian rockets. Now it's ironic, and ironic, but really it's a true thing. It's an actual sequence of events that has, some of the credit should go to Iran. So that's a bit about the ballistic retaliation. By the way, a beauty salon in a village, in a Palestinian village near Hebron, suffered a hit. They don't have the Palestinian building code, if there is such a thing, does not require safe rooms. So 3 women or 4 women were killed in a village near Hebron. Another Thai worker was killed in Moshav Adanim, and an elderly couple that did not make it to the safe room was also killed in Ramat Gan. By the way, if we're talking about Iran and Iraq, Ramat Gan is an Israeli town that is famous for a lot of people, a lot of Jews that came from Iraq. So maybe the Iranians are continuing their Iran-Iraq war by sending rockets to Ramat Gan. I don't know. Anyway, so Hormuz, big issue. You've heard about it. I was laughing my lungs out yesterday when I read the president's remark about the Japanese correspondent asking him. I was laughing. It's only, I was laughing like crazy because I just read it, and I read it in a concise version. Why didn't you let us know about the attack? You didn't let us know about Pearl Harbor. I was laughing, and then I saw the video. That guy, anyway. So made me laugh so hard. That's about the Hormuz. I think things are still open to see what's going on, and right, we'll see. And the last one, Qatar. Qatar is suffering from Iran. You should understand how small is Qatar, just so you, in comparison to Iran. That's terrain. Let's do a regular map. Okay, this is Iran. This is Qatar. Okay, first of all, very close. Secondly, very small in comparison to.
We don't see the map.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for mentioning that. Okay, so this is Iran. This is Qatar. And as far as population, Qatar is very small as well. So they kind of tried to place to be complacent and to play nice. They are partners in South Pals, in the largest gas field in the world, and they have been attacked by Iran, and they even did not, they still have an Iranian ambassador. They just declared the military attaches as persona non grata. Yeah, it's how lame can you be? You're being attacked repeatedly by a country, and you keep the ambassador. Okay, that's their show. As far as the internal dissent, I don't know what's gonna happen. It depends on the people. yeah, definitely. Both Israel and America are trying to create the conditions, but we definitely cannot do much more than that. We're a small nation, again, punching way above our weight, but still, we're small. We have to remember that. So that's a bit about war updates. Yes, Betsy.
Where's
I
Baluchistan?
had, oh, I'm sorry. I had a question, Netanel, that mountain range that's kind of at the bottom of Iran, does it effectively divide the country kind of into two separate areas?
So interesting that you're asking. Much of the Iranian petrol and gas is actually in the Arab part, okay, of Iran. Okay, what do I mean by that? Iran generally is not Arab. Okay, people kind of bunk together the whole Middle East and they say Arabs, they mean Iranians, but Iran is not Arab. Okay, Iranians don't see themselves as Arabs, and they're not. The area that has a lot of the oil and gas. You see the city of Ahvaz here? Okay, this is the area with the oil and gas here and in the sea. Okay, that part is more Arab. Okay, in culture and as far as its ethnicity, it also tends to be less Shiite. Okay, so there is kind of a difference. Iran is an empire and it has a lot of ethnicities and populations and so forth. So as far as that, this is a big issue. The more oil producing parts of Iran and how they are more Arab than Persian. Okay, but to what extent this division can affect the question of regime change, I don't know.
Okay. Can I ask you another question?
Go ahead.
You just showed that city Basra.
Basra, yeah, it's already in Iraq. Basra
Yes,
is here.
right, very close. But I just read the other day, someone said that could have parallels to Bozrah in the Hebrew Bible.
Yeah, Basra,
Okay.
Basra in the Hebrew Bible is in Jordan, modern day Jordan here. Do you see this area? Okay, and even though the name is similar, it's not the same city.
Okay. Well, if they said a rabbi in the 1500s had said that at the end of days, this would be Basra.
Yeah, sometimes you have cities with similar name. You might even have cities with the same name. You have Salem in Massachusetts, and you have Salem near Shechem, Nablus. It's not the same city, okay? So, yeah. And they say every state in the U.S. has what's Springfield. I don't know if it's correct, but there are a lot of Springfields. Okay.